Most people don't have a budget because they assume it requires tracking every single dollar, logging every coffee, every gas station stop, and every random online purchase until the friction causes you to quit entirely. You can do it that way, but you don't have to. There is an alternative method that takes about 10 minutes to set up and requires zero complex spreadsheets. It's called the 50-30-20 rule, and the entire system fits on the back of a napkin. The framework was popularized by Senator Elizabeth Warren and her daughter in their 2005 book, All Your Worth. To implement it, you only need two things: your most recent pay stub and last month's bank statement. By utilizing a macro-level framework rather than micromanaging every transaction, you gain total control over your wealth without relying on daily willpower. Here is exactly how the math works. Step 1 is finding your starting number. The 50-30-20 rule is based strictly on your net income, what actually hits your bank account after taxes, not your gross salary. For example, if you earned $75,000 per year, your take-home pay after federal and state taxes, Social Security, and Medicare is closer to $60,000. That leaves you with a workable baseline of $5,000 per month. From that $5,000, we split the money into 3 buckets. The first and largest bucket takes up 50% of your income. That $2,500 is reserved exclusively for needs. Needs are expenses you genuinely cannot cut with severe consequences. This covers your rent or mortgage, basic utilities, groceries, and minimum debt payments. This category strictly excludes streaming services, dining out, and gym memberships. Those are not survival critical, even if they feel essential. Ruthlessly filtering this category is the only way to manufacture the mathematical breathing room required for the next 2 steps. The second bucket takes 30% of your net income, and this is your wants category. This money is yours to spend entirely guilt-free. This is where those displaced lifestyle items land: your Netflix and Spotify subscriptions, your hobbies, dining out, and vacations. On a $5,000 take-home, $1,500 goes here. The final 20% bucket is dedicated strictly to savings and aggressive debt paydown. This is the $1,000 a month that builds your future. Within this 20%, there is a strict priority order. The absolute first priority is capturing your employer's 401k match, which is a guaranteed return on your money. The second priority is destroying any high-interest debt that sits above a 7 or 8% interest rate, like credit card balances. Third, you direct these funds toward building a cash emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of basic living expenses. Once those bases are covered, this 20% flows directly into maxing out your retirement accounts and general brokerage investing. This exponential line chart illustrates the math behind that final step. Consistently investing $1,000 a month at a 7% return yields nearly $500,000 over 2 decades. By structurally separating your lifestyle spending from your savings, you create an automatic defense mechanism against lifestyle creep. You know exactly what you can spend today because tomorrow is already funded. The 50-30-20 rule is a framework, not a law. Real life often requires adjustments, particularly if you live in a highly expensive city. If your rent alone consumes 40% of your take-home pay, your needs bucket is going to exceed 50%. The protocol here is to compress your wants category down to 20% to compensate, leaving your 20% savings allocation intact. Alternatively, if you have an aggressive debt payoff goal, you can temporarily flip the strategy to 50-20-30, putting 30% toward debt and savings and limiting wants to 20%. Once you have your specific percentages dialed in, you can put the entire system on autopilot using a technique called the reverse budget. Here is the exact workflow. On payday, step 1 is an immediate, automatic transfer of your 20% savings allocation out of your checking account. Step 2, pay your fixed needs from what remains. Step 3, spend whatever is left on your wants, entirely guilt-free. Because the savings transfer happens instantly, you are paying yourself first. This removes discipline from the equation by making wealth building your default action. You can activate this system this weekend by executing 3 specific action items. Action item 1, check your last pay deposit and calculate your exact net pay. Action item 2, pull up last month's bank statement and categorize every transaction into a need, a want, or savings. This establishes your honest baseline. Action item 3, Log into your bank and set up your automatic 20% transfer so it executes on your very next payday. The biggest hurdle to this whole process is the assumption that a budget is simply a tool of restriction. A budget is an active declaration of where your money will go. It replaces the passive mystery of wondering where your paycheck drifted at the month's end. True financial control comes from automating your systems, making sure your priorities are funded first, and spending the rest without a second thought. I'm Cash Control 360. Subscribe for a new money breakdown every week.